So we've been running a social distancing pilot for the GLA to see what social distancing sport should or could potentially look like. The sports that we chose, because we thought that those are the sports that might be most difficult, were football, basketball and netball. The age range from 9 all the way up until 18. Majority of the football was made up of the younger age group, because the older age group it's pretty difficult to get them out to come to a pilot like this. But in terms of the basketball and netball, we had a lot of older children, 16 to 18, taking part. Difficulties that we've found, I think in terms of the basketball and netball, especially netball, where you kind of need teammates in order to improve and work hard. We found it pretty difficult to try think of drills with the social distancing, but more places that we looked and more that we tried, we ended up finding things that they really enjoyed, making drills that were really spacious, thinking of things that were creative, and also you start to see that the children and the participants start to think of things as well. So it almost helps us. In terms of the basketball, I think it's a little bit easier. It still has the element of needing teammates, but you can do single player drills where they're dribbling through their feet or working on ball handling, working on space. With the football, because I teach football myself, I have a football team. I think with that it was a little bit easier for me, so I decided to take on the role of actually planning all of the football sessions. It's made me a little bit more creative, where I was creative already, but I think I've become a little bit more creative in terms of thinking of things that you wouldn't normally have in a football training session. So adding things like hula hoops, adding things like players holding on to other players' bibs in order to keep that social distancing. And I think with the younger children, making it as fun as possible really helps. So they like the element of games rather than just playing football matches or just doing drills. Even though they are getting the element of maybe learning a skill or learning a turn, they're still having that fun and it's still social. A few other difficulties that we found is because we've had to have everyone wash their hands before and after. I think it takes up quite a lot of time having different groups washing their hands. They have to wash their hands for 20 seconds. But I think as the weeks went on, the children were just used to it. So by week 3, no one really was too fussed, too bothered, managed to get through it quickly and get to where they need to be and start off with their session. At the end of the sessions, we found that if you end it a little bit earlier, so maybe 5-10 minutes earlier, it also gives you time to do a debrief with the children just to see what they've learned, what they liked, what they didn't like, so you can adapt for next week, and also gives them time to wash their hands. In terms of guidance given by the government and the FA and Sport England, there were a few things out there in terms of having different groups of pods. So when it came to sport, especially football, you're only allowed a maximum of 5 or 6 plus a coach. So we used a few of those things and we had to implement them as well. But there's also a few things that we thought of ourselves which wasn't out there in terms of cleaning equipment. So anytime a child used or touched the equipment with their hands, we would have to quickly give it a spray and wipe it down and then move along. Same with cones, which we tried to limit children picking them up, but there is times where younger children tend to pick them up. But they now knew that if I touch a cone, if I touch a ball at Badu Sports, that has to be clean. So I'm either not going to touch it, or if I do touch it, straight away I'll let the coach know. Coach can give it a spray, coach can give it a wipe. So we've been here for the last 5 weeks, and when I'm looking at it deeply on a wider scale, can it go out to grassroots? Can it go out to companies? Can it go out to other organisations on a bigger scale in Hackney, maybe around London? Definitely, it could.